What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and today I'm going to talk about a title I wasn't sure if I was actually going to purchase, but I went ahead and did it just kind of on a whim because it was pretty cheap. But we're going to talk about the Slumber Party Massacre today. And this is a Scream Factory title that just came out this week. We're going to talk about this, guys. I'm going to give my thoughts on the movie, the special features, packaging, all that good stuff. And then I'm going to give you some other Scream Factory recommendations, just some stuff that I think, some Blu-rays that I think need to be in your collection, especially if you're a fan of these types of slasher films. So before we get into talking about the movie though, guys, I want to ask, if you're not yet a subscriber to the Mid-Level Media channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. I do all kinds of stuff on this channel, mostly centered around the world of physical media. I do reviews like this. I do physical media reports and updates, updating you on all the latest happenings in the world of physical media. I do Blu-ray hunts. I do collection updates, unboxings, just tons of physical media content on this channel. You'll love it. Hit the subscribe button for more great content. Also, be sure to like the video and comment down below if you saw this movie. Did you watch it on the Sci-Fi channel last year when it came out? Did you get this Blu-ray? What do you think of the movie? Let me know in the comments section below. And also turn on those bell notifications for future videos. So let's talk about the Slumber Party Massacre 2021. So this one came out, I believe, last October, probably October, I would say Halloween time. And it came out on the Sci-Fi channel. So it was a Sci-Fi channel original film, and I think it was on a streaming service as well, whatever side. I think maybe they're affiliated with Hulu. I remember seeing it on some kind of a streaming service. So a Sci-Fi channel original, so not exactly, it's not exactly the most enticing when I hear about a Sci-Fi channel original film. I always think of the the creature features that they do, the Sharknadoes of the world, the Killer Croc versus Mecha Croc, all those weird movies. Everything just seems like it's super generic on Sci-Fi. But I know they've been making a comeback, actually making some legitimately good shows and TV movies and stuff like that. So anyway, I wasn't necessarily interested. Admittedly, I'm not like a massive fan of the Slumber Party Massacre. I've seen the first one and I like the first one for what it is. I've only seen it a handful of times. Actually, I have a review up on the channel for the Scream Factory Slumber Party Massacre. I think I reviewed that earlier last year. So I would say I'm a casual fan of this franchise. I haven't seen part 2 and I have not seen part 3. So going into this, I didn't really have a lot of expectations. I just wanted a goofy, schlocky slasher film. And that's pretty much what this is. So if you're a fan of the Slumber Party Massacre series, I imagine you'll probably like this one. I would say so. I don't think it does it's not any drastic departure from that first movie. The first movie is not exactly high art. It's not like a Halloween or a The Shining. So it doesn't have that gold standard to live up to for like a horror movie. So if anything, this movie does more in terms of like story and character work, which we'll get to here in a second. But I don't know. I thought this was pretty fun. It's got some good kills. It's really gory. So it's in the vein of that old school like slasher style. And yeah, I've heard this is it feels very divisive. I've heard some people that hate this. I've heard some people that love this movie. I don't know. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I mean, it's not great, but I think for what it is and what it aims to accomplish, I thought it was pretty good. This movie is directed by Danishka Esterhazy, which I was looking at her filmography. She's done like some short films and stuff, but nothing really of note outside of like Banana Splits. I remember seeing that on the Walmart shelves like a couple of years ago, but she did a good job in directing this movie. Like I said, it's not scary or anything like that, but it's well directed. And to be honest, it's well acted. I didn't really, again, like some of the performances and stuff I think are intentionally meant to be goofy. This movie's kind of a cross between an old school like B-movie slasher, like I said, like a Slumber Party Massacre. I mean, it's in that same league, but it's also acting as a spoof kind of as well. It's paying homage to the older films while also kind of making fun of them at the same time, but it does so in a respectful kind of way. So I'm not going to get too much into the story with this because I don't really want to give anything away. There's a lot of twists and turns. Like I said, there's way more story in this movie than I remember in the original Slumber Party Massacre. So yeah, it kind of goes deep, and there's some twists and turns along the way. I don't want to give anything away because I went into this movie completely blind, and I think I liked it more because of the surprises that it had in store for me throughout the film. So don't want to give any of that stuff away, but yeah, I thought it was a well-directed film. Haven't seen Banana Splits, but I don't know. Let me know if I need to check that out if you've seen it. It was written by Susan Kelly, who wrote the one of the Leprechaun films. I think one of the recent ones. I think it was Leprechaun Returns. She also wrote episodes of Ash vs. Evil Dead, the Killer Nun Netflix series. So an accomplished writer in her own right, and I thought she did a really good job. Like I said, paying homage to the older Slumber Party Massacre films. You know, you got Russ Thorn in this movie, the driller killer. The guy that played him, I thought, did a pretty good job. Like, he had that kind of creepy look to him. And he even talks like him. He's like, I love you. And he has that look. Like, he reminds me dead up like the old Russ Thorn. So I appreciated that. The drill's really cool. Like, I just like how they use that. It's a really cool weapon. I'm surprised that nobody else has really used that. They haven't like brought that back for anybody else. I think it's a lot cooler than like just a straight up butcher knife that Michael has or a machete. I really like the drill because you can get creative with it with some of the kills, and they definitely do that. Like I said, the kills in this really deliver to me. So that's really all I'm asking for when you're talking about a slasher movie. It's like, give me some good kills, give me some fun characters that don't get on my nerves the entire time. And these characters didn't get on my nerves. I thought they were all well acted. Again, a lot of these actresses, first time actors, like I hadn't really seen them in anything before. I thought they all did a really good job. Now let's get into not really negatives, but just it's got a lot of story into it. And I really liked the first 2/3 of the movie, I'd say. Like, I thought it was off to a strong start. And then something happens and they really try to inject like a lot of story in like the last 30 minutes. And I don't really think it was necessary for this type of movie. I appreciate them trying to like flesh out the character of Russ Thorn and adding some depth to this story, but I don't know. I don't feel like it necessarily works for this type of movie. And you know, another thing with the guys coming in, I didn't really feel like they were completely necessary to the story. Like, I get what they were trying to do. The older Slumber Party Massacre film objectifies women, and they brought the guys in, these dudes, to kind of objectify them and kind of, in a way, make fun of the older 80s slasher films that objectify women by showing them naked. And they even have a scene where the guy's taking a shower and he's showing the soap run down his ass crack, and they're all having a pillow fight in one scene. So not for me, but I appreciate what they were trying to do in those moments. So yeah, overall, guys, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. I would give it probably like a 3 out of 5. Again, it's not a great slasher film, but it's definitely not a terrible one. And I think that ultimately, at the end of the day, I think this is like 1639. So if you're a fan of Slumber Party Massacre, if you think those movies are pretty fun, I think that you're going to really dig this as well. I don't think, again, I didn't see the new Black Christmas. A lot of people always shit on that Black Christmas movie from 2019. I don't think it's a situation like that. I think this is just, you can tell that the people that made this movie really love those Slumber Party Massacre movies, and they weren't trying to just use the name and, you know, make something completely different. This feels in line with that first movie. So if you're a fan of the movies, I think that you'll be a fan of this one. So I absolutely do recommend grabbing this. As for special features, you do get an audio commentary with the director, which is pretty cool. You get an alternate ending, which is what it is. It's like a minute and a half. It's like an add-on, really, other than an alternate ending. Kind of felt like to me. So it didn't really do too much, but it was pretty cool that it was in there. And you get a trailer. So not a ton in terms of special features, but I really I wasn't sure if this was going to come with a slipcover, and it came with a slipcover because I was really happy with that. And yeah, it's a nice slipcover. I like the artwork on it. I like the overall presentation. You know, right there you got the case, and you open it up. You got some cool disc art on it right there. You got some stuff in the back. You get that image of Russ Thorn running with the drill. So yeah, I like the location. I like the setting in this, like out in the cabin in the woods. It was cool. I dug the movie. It was a good movie. Like I said, a 3 out of 5. So do I recommend picking this up? Sure, I recommend picking it up. It's $16, and if you are a Scream Factory collector and you want to make sure you get that slipcover, order it off of Amazon. I got it off of Amazon. The slipcover is in pristine condition, so I was very happy with this release overall. I'm happy to add it to the collection, and I think you guys should too. So I'll leave that link for purchase in the description below. Let's get into some of my other recommendations, and these are kind of, like I said, in line with Slumber Party Massacre. So if you like the Slumber Party Massacre films, I would recommend all of these Scream Factory releases. They are really awesome. And the first one that I'm going to talk about is the original Slumber Party Massacre. So like I said, I have a review for this one up on the channel. This is a 1982 film, and this movie came around, I think, at just the right time. The slasher boom was really taking off. Friday the 13th had come out in 1980. This was 1982, so a couple years later. People were just down for this kind of movie, and this movie just takes it in such a wacky direction, just takes the slasher premise and just runs with it. And it's iconic. Russ Thorne as the driller killer. It's a great movie. It's a super fun movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously. There's really not a lot of story to it other than Russ Thorne kind of breaking in on these girls and while they're having a sleepover and just picking them all off one by one. So it's a really fun slasher. Absolutely recommend it. The Scream Factory release has some really awesome special features in it. It's got a making of the Slumber Party Massacre where you get interviews with the director, which was a female director. She talks about directing this film and working with the girls and making them feel comfortable for doing those nude scenes in the shower and stuff like that. It's a really good Scream Factory edition with just some really cool special features, and I think the presentation on it is pretty damn great. So I recommend owning the Slumber Party Massacre. And right now, guys, you can get this Blu-ray on Amazon for $12.99. So it's a very cheap Scream Factory Blu-ray that, again, I absolutely recommend you put in the collection. And this one right here, I can't speak to the sequels, and this one would be a great double feature. So I absolutely recommend getting both of these. And you could get both of these right now, guys, for under $30. So great deal for both of those Scream Factory Blu-rays together. So let's get into some other recommendations. And yeah, we're, again, keeping in the kind of slasher vein. And I would call this movie a slasher, but this is Idle Hands. This is a great Scream Factory release that came out, I think, a couple of years ago in 2020. Look at the cover art on that. It's absolutely fantastic. It's phenomenal. I love the original poster art as well. I got this when it just came out. You're probably not going to be able to get the slipcover for it anymore, but this is just a super fun 90s. I think this was the end of the 90s, 1999. Kind of, I would call this a slasher film, but it kind of has some supernatural elements in it as well, with him like having this undead hand kind of taking over his body and doing things for him. But yeah, it's got Devon Sawa in it, who is on a lot of these kind of horror films, Final Destination, and that kind of stuff. It's got Seth Green in it. It's got Jessica Alba in it, one of her first roles. So Idle Hands is super fun. I remember watching this, like, I don't know, 20 years ago and not being a huge fan of it. When I rewatched it a couple years ago, the Scream Factory edition, absolutely fell in love with it. I love this movie now. Great transfer, great special features with tons of interviews and deleted scenes and all that stuff. So highly recommend this Scream Factory edition. And you can get this right now for $21.60. So a little bit more pricey, but again, a great release by Scream Factory that I absolutely recommend. So getting into my next recommendation, this is one of my personal favorite slasher films. And if you ask me what's my favorite slasher of the 90s outside of the Scream franchise, because I would put Scream 1 and 2 above this one, but hands down after that, I always bring up Urban Legend. Like, this is just one of my personal favorites. You even got Freddy Krueger himself in this movie. Robert Englund is in this film. Great cast. Jared Leto's in this. Tara Reid's in this movie. Joshua Jackson's in it. Alicia Witt. Like, there's just tons of awesome people. It's just such a great cast. Rebecca Gayhart's in this film. Yeah, tons of good people in it. And yeah, like I said, after Scream, like, I think this is the best slasher of the 90s. I absolutely love this movie. I love the premise of it. I remember reading the Scary Stories in the Dark books when I was a kid, and a lot of those like urban legends in those books, they bring back up in here. So I was just a big fan of that type of stuff, the urban legend myths and all that. And I thought the way they incorporated that into the kills and just the story of this movie was fantastic. It holds up. I watched it when the Scream Factory came out. Absolutely love this movie. I still got it on VHS back there. So I've been a fan of this movie since it came out in 1998. Just absolutely love it. So absolutely recommend this Scream Factory edition. Again, you're probably not going to get this slipcover with it. when you order it, but this has got tons of great special features. It is a 2-disc set, so on disc 1 you get you get the Blu-ray, you get the audio commentary and all that stuff with director Jamie Blanks. Disc 2 you get tons of other special features as well. You get a feature-length documentary on the making of Urban Legend featuring new interviews with Jamie Blanks, actors Rebecca Gayheart, Loretta Devine, Tara Reid, Michael Robeson, and Robert Englund. So Danielle Harris is also in this movie. I forgot all about that, but yeah, she's in this movie as well. Just a great cast across the board. So yeah, a full feature-length documentary. The movie itself, again, 2-disc collector's edition with it's just awesome. I love the original poster art to it as well. And yeah, this is just, outside of Scream, like I said, just one of my favorite slasher movies of all time from the 90s. So highly recommend Urban Legend. You can get that one right now for $27.75. So that's the most pricey one on this list, but I think it's absolutely worth it. Again, 2-disc collector's edition with tons of special features in that one. So let's get into the other one. It is February right now, so we got to talk about this one. Let's talk about Valentine. So this is from the same director as Urban Legend, Jamie Blanks. And this is really underrated. I don't feel like a lot of people talk about this. And this is probably, this came to me like the tail end of that Scream resurgence slasher run that happened in the late 90s and early 2000s after Scream. After this movie, I would mark this as kind of like the end of that type of slasher film, just kind of that 90s style. And after this, we kind of just got remakes, and then Saw came out. Paranormal Activity, we kind of gotten all that stuff, and that kind of ushered us in to the 2010s. But Valentine from 2001 was kind of the end of this type of movie. Just the whodunit like slasher where you're trying to figure out who's the killer the whole time. All that was kind of brought about with Scream franchise. So this is a really fun movie. Again, it's it's like a whodunit. So you're trying to figure out who this killer is the whole time. He's wearing this Cupid mask, super creepy mask. All throughout the movie, every time he kills somebody, his nose bleeds, so that's kind of a cool gimmick, and that plays into finding out who's actually the killer at the end. You got Denise Richards in this movie, Mary Shelton, who was just in the new Scream movie and also Scream 4, so she was in a lot of these movies in the late 90s, early 2000s, and Sugar and Spice as well. Katherine Heigl's in this movie, one of her very first roles as well. And this movie, yeah, like I said, just super fun. If you're a fan of Scream, Urban Legend, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and you have not seen Valentine, you'll absolutely love this movie. And this release is fantastic. Again, some really cool cover art to this one as well. And yeah, just some awesome special features in it. Also, it's a new 2K scan, so it looks fantastic. Definitely one of the better looking Scream Factory releases that they've done. So yeah, Scream Factory's really done a great job in the past few years of just bringing back these old school like slasher, 90s slashers. I don't know what's the holdup with I Know What You Did Last Summer. Again, I'm not the biggest I Know What You Did Last Summer fan, but I know a lot of people are. So I'm not really sure what the holdup is there. I would have thought they would have done that series by now, but they haven't. So yeah, Valentine, highly recommend if you're a fan of those kind of slashers. So with that, guys, we're done. These are the 5 Scream Factory releases that I recommend you put in your collection. Again, all similar themes in the slasher genre. But yeah, as far as the new Slumber Party Massacre, it gets a thumbs up from me. I think it was really good. I don't really think it should be that divisive. It's a fun movie. It's a fun new slasher. What more do you want? And again, the first Slumber Party Massacre, like, what are you exactly trying to live up to? It's not exactly high art. So, I don't know, guys. I really enjoyed it. Those are 5 Scream Factories I think you should own right now. Again, guys, appreciate you watching. Please like the video. Comment down below your thoughts on any of these films, the new Slumber Party Massacre. Let me know in the comment section below. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications and follow me on all my social media accounts. The links are in the description, and we'll see you next time.